Hello, this is Jennifer Johns Hugo, and I am here tonight with Deborah Thompson, and she's going to tell us a little about herself to get started.
Hello, as Jennifer said, my name is Deborah Thompson, and I had my first career of 26 years in education. I did not start into education until I was 35 years old, and I was a classroom teacher for a number of years, and then I went to a math specialist. I've taught all elementary grades. Um, then I became an assistant principal, and I did that for about 7 years. And then the last 8 years of my career, I was a principal at an elementary campus.
Okay, and what campus were you in, Debbie?
I was in Bonner Elementary and Tyler Independent School District. And Bonner is a bilingual campus. At that time, it was 88, I believe, 88.6% bilingual students, and it was an extremely deep level of poverty at Bonner. We were at 96.7%, and we had an incredible staff, very hardworking, very committed to the children. Lots and lots of bilingual teachers to serve our students. We had over 500 students, and about 70 adults that served them. And our campus was an award-winning campus for many, many years as the state testing became more and more stringent. And I credit that to the wonderful staff that we had.
Wow, that's exciting.
It was exciting. It was an exciting time.
So, as a principal, can you kind of describe your role?
I always told the teachers, especially the new teachers, but every year when we would come back to school and periodically through the year, I reminded them and I reminded the office staff and the other administrators on the campus that my sole role was to make the campus a safe and productive environment for students and staff and the parents so that everyone could come there and feel safe and secure, and that did not have to be a concern. They could focus on their education. It was my job to secure the best staff available for our children because they had very great needs. And the needier and more deeply mired in poverty that a child is, the more their educational needs are going to be, just because their parents are very, very busy trying to survive. We had many parents that had 2 and 3 jobs. We had families that lived, several families in one home, very crowded. Many of our children had their breakfast there every day. We provided lunches, and we provided most of their nourishment, really. But in addition to providing a staff that was willing to support those children with such great needs, I told the staff, my job and the administrators and the office staff's job is to make your job doable because it's an incredibly hard job. Teachers aren't given near enough credit or support or pay, and the last thing they need is someone throwing up roadblocks in their way. They need all the support and all the help and all the accolades that they can get from the people who are closest to them.
Wow. Um, how would you define ethics as a principal or in general?
Well, it's one of those simple things, and it's a lot of times until it's applied to you, it's a little harder to define. There are gray areas, but basically it's knowing the right thing to do and doing the right thing, whether anybody's watching or not, just doing the right thing, holding confidences. I had many, many teachers that would come and tell me things that were going on in their life, and I took my job very seriously as far as holding their confidence. That wasn't something to be shared. The ethics involved in the state testing, we had to be scrupulously honest in everything we did. If there was any shade of doubt in something that had occurred, I always tell my teachers and the staff that we report it, we document it, we submit it to the central administration, and they make the determination of what to do with that and how to deal with it. Our job is to be scrupulously honest in every area of testing and everything we do, but especially with the testing because it's such a high stakes test.
Right.
I had parents many times that would come and tell me things that would just, break your heart, but you have to deal with it and you have to be confidential. We had so many things to do with special education and really anything to do with a child's education. You just have to have a staff that understands what confidentiality means, how seriously we take it, and the fact that the administrators are trusting them to do the right thing because they're on the front line. I'm not there every minute in their classroom. And I always tell the teachers, if something in your head, that still small voice says, should I do this? The answer is no, always.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I was going to ask you, how does TISD set the standards between right and wrong? And I think you've kind of already gone over that. But is there a code of ethics or a list of guidelines that TISD follows?
I don't know if absolutely there is. I don't know why I said I don't know. We have board policies. That is our code of ethics. Mm-hmm. It's the rules and regulations for the campus, for the campuses and for the district. And we have a code of ethics that we have for the campus. We have a staff handbook that we go over, and we try not to make it too cumbersome because you can't cover every issue. But you just have to keep talking to the staff about doing the right thing. And you have to model that. Right. If we talk to the teachers about, just for an example, we don't get on our cell phones during instructional time. Instructional time is not nearly enough and very precious. And when you have a population like ours so deep in poverty, we have to maximize every second. Well, then I shouldn't be walking around talking on the cell phone, placing an order for lunch when I have told them not to. So, we want to model what we expect. And I just always want the teachers to think, I always wanted the teachers and the staff to think, Ms. Thompson understands if they had an issue, were waiting for a doctor to call or something, then we took care of that. They said, I'm waiting for a call, and that's just one small part of it, but it was something that came up frequently, is the cell phones. But we tried to be understanding, but we also had, rules and guidelines for our campus, and we tried to adhere to them, and they expected each other. It's that idea of, if I'm going to follow the rules, I want everybody else following the rules too. Right.
So, what words of advice would you pass on to your replacement?
Well, I want that school kept beautiful and clean like we've kept it for many years. I want my children taken care of. I want those teachers taken care of. It's just a hard job, and it always made me feel really good when teachers came to me, especially after they'd go to other campuses or they had friends that came from other campuses, and they would say, you won't believe what they did over there. And they knew that was not the standard for Bonner Elementary. Mm-hmm. Bonner was seen in the district as a model of doing the right thing, whether it was keeping the hallways clean, the bulletin boards attractive, monitoring the children, greater time on task, all the things that you have to do to make a school be successful. Bonner was known for doing that. And it was a source of pride for me because my teachers were happy and they were well cared for. Mm-hmm. And that was very important to me.
Good. Can you share any type of a situation where ethics came into play, either with a parent or a student or maybe one of the other teachers?
I guess one of the things that was always hard to deal with is if we had an issue in a classroom. If a teacher, whether intentionally or unintentionally, did something that was less than stellar in the classroom, and they would come to me and tell me, and I have to document it. And how I handle that and how we move forward and got everyone back on track. And there is a point where, we're going to have to part ways if something happens that is serious enough or is an act that can't be, there's no way we can fix it, then that has to be dealt with too. And that's very painful when people are hardworking and you have a relationship with them, but always the student's well-being was the uppermost concern. And I had to do hard things. I had to have hard conversations. I occasionally had to terminate people with the assistance of human resources. But if you just live by the idea that you are taking care of children first, it's children first, always. Safety and well-being, and even friends can't supersede that.
Right. Well, Debbie, I really appreciate your time. Do you have any final parting words that you'd like to share?
Support your classroom teachers because they're the front line, and just hope and pray. And if you've got a teacher that gives her all, then give her accolades for it because it's a very hard job.
Right. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I enjoyed talking with you.
It. Thank you. Did you turn it off?
No.